Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to be here today to discuss a topic about which I care very deeply. Susanna Huovinen's report has given us specific insights into the way in which intercultural cities make better homes for refugees and their broader communities. And we congratulate you on your work, Susanna. Your study is a chapter in the bigger but equally positive story about the role of that diversity can play at a troubled time in Europe. In recent years, we have seen record numbers of migrants and refugees making the journey to Europe's shores, and there is still little sign of those numbers abating. Where these new Europeans are not treated fairly, where they are not integrated effectively, and where citizens in the communities in which they settle feel their social rights are not being met, the seeds of division and discord are sown. More than that, this resentment opens the door to populists who will appeal to public grievance, invoke supposed public will, and undermine pluralism, human rights, and the protection of minorities. Where this vicious cycle occurs, it must be broken. And we know that intercultural cities have a big and positive role to play in achieving that. 10 years ago, we had a dream, or a theory, if you prefer, a belief that by moving away from the binary choice of assimilation and multiculturalism and opting instead to harness diversity as a competitive advantage, we could improve our cities for all their residents and minimize any tension or conflict. We believed that institutions and public spaces could be opened up to everyone, that enterprises and neighborhoods could be mixed, and that trust and friendship could be built through everyday contact between people of different backgrounds. Through the white paper on intercultural dialogue, we enshrined this dream or principles into our policies and programs, into our educational work, in our policies for inclusiveness, and the Intercultural Cities program, to which, by the way, 120 cities from 32 countries have signed up so far, has continued to turn this dream into practice, and citizens are reaping the rewards. Last year, the interim results of an external study indicated that where cities design and implement intercultural strategies with their residents, local people are not only happier, but local services are more efficient, people report feeling safer, and their economy grows. These findings only underline why the Committee of Ministers was right to validate the intercultural cities approach in a formal recommendation. Membership of our network and the implementation of this strategy are often driven by individual city mayors. So I have no doubt that, and I turn to you, Mrs. Persson and Mrs. DeMarchi, we will be able to tell you firsthand today how they shared commitment, determination, and leadership. Determination and leadership are extremely important to conduct, to lead these programs, and how you have succeeded to deliver intercultural benefits to Bergen and Milano, respectively. By the way, this morning, at the plenary in the Parliamentary Assembly, the guest of honor was the mayor of Athens, who spoke using a somewhat different terminology, solidarity cities, and a network which is now being promoted. But I could very well hear and see that there are many, many, many things in common between the Solidarity Network and the Intercultural Cities Network. So coming back to the intercultural cities, however, let me say that Bergen and Milano have shared the same philosophy or concept as other cities that are applying this concept of the intercultural cities with great results. But if we want to go further to ensure positive benefit for the 120 cities already signed up and the many more that might do so, we need to ensure that the inclusive ethos approach is supported by every level of government. Cities can do a lot on their own, and a lot to encourage, support, and learn from one another. But national governments often have different priorities or policies, and these priorities or policies very often contradict what the cities are doing. So in order for the intercultural cities to succeed as best as they can, we need every layer of government pulling in the same direction. We need learning, understanding, and coordination all round so that the value of inclusion is understood and implemented to maximum effect. The Policy Lab for Inclusive Integration is our answer to that great challenge. It is designed to foster dialogue and cooperative action at all levels, local and regional, regional and local, regional and national, and so on, and obviously also the European level, and later on the world level, since we have a number of cities that belong to the network which are not Europeans, but as far as Japan, Canada, United States, Mexico, and so on. So that way we can deliver a wrap-around approach which is mutually reinforcing and where inclusive policies will deliver indeed the greatest possible diversity advantage in any given city. Mrs. Wovinen champions that approach in her report. And by the way, Mr. Nicoletti, head of the Italian delegation to the Parliamentary Assembly, and Milena Santerini, who is here with us on the first row, and who is the General Rapporteur on combating racism and intolerance, helped organize one such event in Rome, not long ago, for Italian cities that are members of the Intercultural Cities programs. So thank you very much for that initiative, desperately needed in order to bring coherence between the different levels of governance in a given country. And this is where I would like to conclude, to say that at the end, I hope that you will find this program of cooperation of the Council of Europe extremely fascinating and interesting. Thank you very much for your attention.